Hi there, Stephen O'Hara here with the Better Software Company. In this video, I will be showing you the new events list here in bPro. Okay, so to get to our events page, we click on Home, and then we click on Events. And you'll always notice this menu with the little truck icon. Okay, this page was developed with the intention to provide our users with access to all of the detailed information that's related to any and all potentially events that are saved within their bPro calendar. Okay, so we followed the grid type format here, which organizes the information very well. As you can see, we can scroll left and right to see all of those columns, and we can scroll up and down to see all of the results. But this helps us include some great information like staff assignments, customer information, service dates, service times, and so on. You can sort a number of the columns so that you can display the results in the most practical manner to suit you. Okay, I'll explain a little bit more of the layout here, and I'll also dig into showing you the various functionalities that are contained on this page. Okay, I don't want to get too carried away before I want to make a point to show you some of the basics here first. So we've got our search field. So you can search events by event name, by customer name, or by order number. Okay, so we'll see any associated events tied to those. We could also choose from any of our quick templates here, and these save you a lot of time in having to set the date range. Right, so we could choose to see events for tomorrow or next week, next month, and so on. We could also view any of our saved templates here. So if I set my own filters, and I think they might be helpful for me in the future or on a regular basis, I simply give that template a name and then click Save. That template will then display at the bottom of this list. Okay, as you can see, you've got the little star here. I've selected Steve's template to be my default template view. So what that means is when I come back to the events page later on, it will load up my filter. So I don't have to set it or even select a template next time. I also have the ability to remove templates that I've created by hitting the trash can. Okay, so that and so many other elements of this, I just want to say this really quick. You know, this page has been developed with some great user feedback, and we really listen and we really appreciate it. So please continue to share your feedback with us. It really helps create a better system for all. You know, so next we have our filters. There's a number of filters. Maybe we'll come back and review some of the options there. You also have an export functionality now, again through some great user feedback. You know, giving you the ability basically to export your calendar here. Okay, so I can export this. When I click export, it will generate the file in the background and email it to the email that is associated to my user. Just bear that in mind. I know there's other areas where we're used to having that export generate and download immediately. This will email to you. Okay. Other than that, we've got some editing options, so you can click the gear to edit the events. We also have bulk actions tied in here, so everybody can save a lot of time and clicks by using the bulk actions. All you need to do with bulk actions is select the checkboxes next to the events. From there, you can view the jobs associated to these events. You can print the jobs associated to these events. We could send email to these clients tied to these events. This is actually a really good option if you're one that likes to send appointment reminders for maybe, again, I might use that filter template to show tomorrow's jobs. Boom, select all, and then quickly send them an appointment reminder email, you know, the day before. Okay, so some quick ideas there for you. We could also bulk assign our team or trucks to these events selected. So I simply click my bulk action boxes, click Assign, Business Asset. Again, you might have slight language differences in your system, but we could just pick a truck to assign to both of those events very quickly. Okay, same thing with Assign Technicians. So many companies will make their staff assignments, say the morning of those jobs. So this is a way that you can do so very quickly without having to edit every single event or go into every single job. Okay, so I simply select my checkboxes and assign those accordingly to the appropriate users. Okay, and assign to route sheet as another option. Now, if you use Assign to Technician, those events will show up on your route sheets anyway. So I don't know that you'll use this all the time, but that option is there if potentially you didn't have a truck or technician assignment. However, we still want this to show up on our route sheets, right? Maybe. Okay, so bulk actions, again, extremely helpful, save you a lot of time. And if you want to select all, just pick that top box and you can select or unselect the results displayed on the page. Now, speaking of results per page, at the bottom here, you have the ability to toggle how many results display, up to 100. Okay, you can see my total number of events in the system are 1706, and I'm viewing results 1 through 50. I can use my little left and right arrows here to cycle through the different pages. All right, so I guess before I get too carried away again, I'd like to point out that you now have this awesome ability to create events for your interactions. So if you like using the interaction feature within the customer profile or within the lead profile pages, you can do that right here as well. It's important for me to note that those interactions now will create events in your calendar. Okay, so this is it's a big change or update to that functionality, and I think it's useful. It's great to be able to manage your interactions from your dashboard or your interactions report. However, I think many of us like managing their to-dos from the calendar, right? So now when you create an interaction, the associated interaction will generate an event on your calendar. Okay, and we can do that here. So let's pull up that form. Again, you can create these interactions within the lead profile and the customer profile just the same. Okay, so let's check out the new form. Now you've probably already noticed a little bit of a difference here. We've got our rounded edges. I love the way it looks. It's a lot cleaner and visually pleasing for me. So first, we need to attach a customer or a lead to an interaction. Okay, so we could search for a client here or a lead. We can choose the interaction type, call or meeting, provide a name for that interaction if needed, set our date, set our time, as well as our duration. Okay, so we don't have to necessarily set an end time. We just pick how long we want that interaction to last, and it'll automatically define the end time. Provide any notes like we normally would, and we can of course assign that interaction to specific staff. Just hit save when you're done. That will save that interaction as an event in your calendar, and it will also display here in the events list. Next is create a new personal event. Okay, so again, a lot of great user feedback has gone into this, and so far, or in the past, let's say, you've only been able to generate events in vPro tied to your job orders, right? So there's always had to be a quote at the very least to add that event to the calendar. Well, now we've given you the ability to create personal appointments. So all you need to do is give it a name. Now this one I think I'll fill in start to finish. I'll say something common here like my doctor appointment. Okay, I can choose a color stripe to go down the side of that event, maybe red just so it stands out. Okay, I can pick my start date as well as my start time from the calendar here. So it is going to be on the 10th, and we'll say 11 a.m. Okay, we could put in the estimate time for that event, 1 hour, and also give it an end time. Now again, if you pick the time duration, you don't have to worry about setting that end time. It will automatically update it for you here. We can assign our personal event to a specific team or truck if needed. You don't need to fill in all of this information, but that is an option for you. Okay, you could also assign your personal event to a specific user. We could add in any notes related to this, if necessary, but it can be helpful for reference. Okay, as discussed, I need to take off this day for, my x-rays or whatever. Okay, and we can even assign an address to this event. Okay, from there we could even build in on-site, name and contact information if needed. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and save this now. And we would now see that on our calendar. Okay, so very easy to add those personal events. Now I think, this really handles those personal things like doctor's appointments and so on really well. But you might even use this in a way to just create a block out, like a blocked event where, say, my certain truck isn't on the road because it's in the shop. You could block it off for the entire day so that you remember not to overbook on top of it. You could do the same thing with holidays. Okay, and when it comes to, your truck or team to assign to that, maybe assign all of them, right? So then you could block off your calendar that way. So there's some ideas for how you might play with that, but it is a very helpful thing to be able to add your own personal events without having it be associated to an order number. Okay. Next, let's check out some of the filters here. So we've got our filters. Okay, there's some customer filters. So if we wanted to pull results, all events related to a certain client, we can do that. Some basic intel options here like gender and age group, events tied to clients created in vPro within a certain period. There's a number of job filters here. So you could search by job number specifically, events tied to jobs of a certain status, like proposals or closed orders or so on. Jobs created by specific users, so all the events linked to that. Events linked to jobs created within the system during a certain period. Events linked to jobs converted, so that conversion is referencing estimate to open or quote to scheduled, really depending again on your system language, but from that, estimate status to official status. Okay, we could see, of course, by service date range events, pull up events for clients not serviced within a certain period. This one's actually, wow, that's pretty cool. Jobs completed date, so events tied to jobs that were completed in the system within a certain period. Okay, we could even just see events tied to orders that still have balances owing. So there's just again, some really great filter options, but always just keep in mind, this is helping us find any events related to this information that we're setting. Okay. Events related to clients that have certain intel tags tied to them. That could be really helpful for sure. Then we have service filters. So none loading right now, but you know, events tied to specific products or product categories, we could find them. Okay, so I don't have any built into this site. And then event filters. Okay, so event filters by the type of events. So based on the designations that we create in there, like you know, pickups, drop-offs, personal events, and so on. Appointment dates, of course, that's a very practical one too. So if we just wanted to see all of our, you know, appointments for October, I would pick my start date and my end date, and then click Apply Filters. Okay, or I could see events tied to some of our specific teams or trucks. So if I wanted to see all of the events tied to the Silverado, I can do that. I could see all events tied to specific staff, and also pickers, which again is really like your route sheet option right there. So you can clear filters or apply filters. Bear in mind when you're applying filters that the system is going to look for events that match all of your filter criteria. So you want to be careful not to select too many filters simultaneously. Okay, but it can very much help you narrow down the results. All right, so pretty straightforward with the filters. I think I've described the majority of what's here. I think maybe what I missed was the edit option here. So again, if you need to edit an event, you can just click edit and then go from there. Okay. If it is an order-based event, okay, so that first one there was a personal event that I created just now. Okay, if it is an order-based event, you actually have a punch in, punch out feature in there too, where you can take the authority to clock any of the assigned staff in or out from that job. So this is a step forward for us in terms of the time tracking tied to those jobs. And it's helpful too. I mean, staff, in a lot of cases, they forget or they don't have service, and then they're not able to punch in correctly. And sometimes a job might run longer than what you had put it in your calendar for, right? So you can take the authority here to punch the staff on and off that job for the appropriate times and ensure that you're documenting and tracking those hours properly. Okay, so there's some really good stuff in here. I really encourage you, if you have any questions related to the new events page here, please chat in and we'll be happy to provide you any direction needed. And thank you so much for, again, all of your feedback. It's wonderful, and it really, again, helps makes a better system for all. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.